The tool we're going to demonstrate today is called the Drilpress. The Drilpress is a tool that you're going to use to drill holes in something. It's just like a hand drill that many of you used before, except for the Drilpress is mounted with a table underneath it. It makes it a little more powerful and a little more accurate. And it's great for when you have to drill more than one hole, especially in the same spot. When you come to use the Drilpress, it's really important that you look at yourself and make sure that your hair is tied up, you don't have any loose clothing, dangling jewelry. With the chuck, that's this piece right here, spinning right in front of you, it's particularly a dangerous tool because when you're standing in front of it, loose clothing could get caught on it. So you're going to have to make sure that you take care of those details. You're going to select a drill bit when you come to use this to match whatever size hole that you need in your piece of wood. So you're going to have to know how to change the drill bits. To change the drill bits, you're going to take this little piece here called the chuck key, and it slots into the chuck. And it's a gear, and when you go to remove the drill bit, it's nice if you put the chuck key angled like this, and you can use the palm of your hand to push down on it. So you're going to push down on it, spin the chuck like so, and the drill bit can be removed. You can put it back in exactly the same way, so you can stick it in, turn it around, and just nice and tight when you put it back in. Okay? One of the really important rules with the Drilpress is the chuck key is never left in the chuck. One of the rules that I have is that the chuck key is either in my hand or it's hanging by the chain. It's never in between. If you ever come to the Drilpress or even walk by it and you see the chuck key left in the chuck, make sure that you remove it because the next person that comes could hit the start button and that chuck key could fly across the room. So the drill bit's been changed. The next thing that you might need to adjust is the table height on it. And to adjust the table height, there's a little lever on the back right over here. You loosen it first, and then you can turn the handle up or down depending on how thick your wood is. If I was drilling into the edge or had a thicker piece of wood, I'd have to lower the table. Because I'm going to drill into this side, I'm going to raise the table back up again. Make sure that you lock the table before you start drilling. All right, so you're going to put your safety glasses on like so. You're going to turn the machine on. It's important when you go to start drilling your hole that your piece is held down on the bit. You're going to start your hole. You're going to drill all the way through. Hold it down and make sure that you raise the drill bit back up on. The reason you want to hold the wood down onto the table is when the drill bit lifts back up, it can lift the wood back up off the table, and when it does that, the drill bit can get jammed in the wood, and the wood can start spinning around. If the wood ever starts spinning around like that, don't reach in and try to grab the piece of wood. Instead, hit the stop button or walk over and hit the emergency power off button, wait for it to stop, and then get your piece of wood off. It can really wrap your knuckles and cause you some pain if you go to try to reach in and get it. One of the things that you should know is that when you're drilling a hole, it's important that whatever you have on the bottom is a solid piece of wood. So if the table has a whole bunch of holes in it, get yourself a piece of scrap wood, stick it underneath your project, and drill like that. If you don't do that, what you'll find is the back side of the hole will break out and it will look ugly. So you want to make sure that you have something underneath when you do that. Other things that you need to think about, if you come to the Drilpress and you have a very small piece of wood, and small I'm talking 5, 10 centimeters or smaller, you're going to need to clamp that piece of wood. And you can find a way to do that. There's lots of ways to do it. A C-clamp is a particularly good way. Go from underneath the table and lock that piece of wood onto the table. Small pieces of wood are very hard to hold on to when you're drilling, and the drill bit can catch and start them spinning. The larger the drill bit, if you choose a large drill bit like this, the larger the drill bit, the more you're going to need to clamp your wood. So even larger pieces of wood will need to be clamped if you're using very big drill bits. One other thing you can do is adjust so you can set the depth for when you're drilling. So if you don't want to drill all the way through a piece of wood, for instance, if I wanted to go exactly 3 or 4 millimeters down and then stop. I can measure down on the edge of my piece of wood, make a mark with a pencil, and I can actually adjust the drill bit so that it stops at that line. So I would bring the drill bit down to that spot, I can lock it with this, and when I drill, it actually stops in that location. Just to go over a few of the main rules. Number one, don't leave the chuck key in the chuck. That's really important. Clamp small pieces of wood. Tie up your hair. Look over yourself for loose jewelry, loose clothing, and that sort of thing before you begin. And that's all for the drill press. Make sure that you do the test before you start using it.